Welcome to South Asia, an educational channel where I will bring about the history, heritage, culture of South Asian region, south of Karakoram Mountains, in the form of icons, the maps, images and pictures for your easy grasping and intellectual enjoyment. This is your presenter Reddy, and people who are following me and our enjoyable presentations in other channels such as South Asia, I humbly request please take time and go and subscribe me at YouTube channel. That is my main channel, and I had more than dozen playlists there and nearly 70 videos for your understanding and intellectual enjoyment, each more than 30 minutes, and you can go and explore and listen them and give your comments and refer to your friends so that we can excuse me, I have allergies, and this intellectual educational channel. Today's the topic of discussion is our Bombay Presidency. We discussed a lot of things in about the Bombay Presidency before. Yes, a overview of the Bombay Presidency, various linguistic groups of Bombay Presidency, geographical features of the Bombay Presidency, excuse me, and lot of other things. Today, this is a very brief presentation. We'll see about the predecessors and successors of Bombay Presidency. Bombay Presidency was a part of British Indian Empire. It survived some form of another from 1668 like a small trading post on the Bombay Island. Bombay is a group of half a dozen islands, Bombay, Trombay, Colaba, Mahim and so on. Now they are reclaimed and you don't see like an island, and itself is surrounded by a bigger island, Salsette Island, because Ullas River encloses Salsette Island on all sides like Thane Creek and Ullas Creek and so on. That was how it started in 1668, and almost round about 290 years later or 300 years it was finally dismembered into various constituent parts. What are its predecessors and what are its successor states? Predecessor states means because Bombay Presidency started its life as a small island, right? Then how did it acquire vast land? Bombay Presidency is quite unique among the British presidencies, provinces in India. British as presidencies, Bombay Presidency, Madras Presidency, and Bengal Presidency, the Royal Presidency. Then they have lot of provinces like United Province of Agra and Oudh, that is essentially Uttar Pradesh. Then the British Punjab province and Ajmer province, central provinces, and they have residencies like various Hyderabad residency, Gwalior residency, Travancore residency and so on. They have agencies, and they have smaller princely states, Jagirdars, Takurdars and so on. So it started like a small island. How it becomes such a big, this is a Baluchistan plateau. Here it touched Baluchistan plateau where their Baluchi Brahui people live here, north of Sindh, there are mountains here, and up to the Bellary district here, Bellary on the bank of Tungabhadra, and touched the Goa and touched the Mangalore area. Such a vast presidency. That means it got lot of territory from other predecessor state. State essentially a small region, territorial area governed by a particular ruler in various forms, predecessors. Why should we know the predecessors and successors? From the predecessors, it is influenced a lot from where it got the territory, it got administrative units, it got the population, it got all the geographical advantages, disadvantages, many things. And some of the successors, it got now lot of socio-political events in these successor states are to certain extent that influenced by the predecessors or 300 years rule of Bombay Presidency. If you look casually, you may not understand it. But if you study the society, culture in deeper level, you understand it. Take for example, we have a Karnataka state. Now the people of northern Karnataka, they feel they are neglected in the province. This is called Bombay Karnataka because Dharwad district, Bijapura district, Karwar district, Belagavi district are parts of Bombay Presidency. Then you have Nizam's territory, that is called Hyderabad Karnataka. That is Bidar and Gulbaragi, Gulbarga and Raichur. So the point here is your predecessor states will have a lot of influence on your governance, mode of living and your day-to-day lives also. You may not notice that much, but a in situ observer, perceptive observer who studies the societies in deep, like me who pay a lot of attention on these things, will understand how the things are moving and what is the reason for that, how the denouement final outcome may come. So this will help you in a broader sense, understanding when you understand the predecessors and successors. So before that, Bombay Presidency, those who are coming here first time, has 5 divisions. Sindh division, that is a Sindhi speaking areas like Karachi district, Hyderabad district, Hyderabad in Sindh, not Hyderabad in Deccan. And then we have Tharparkar district, the arid district goes to Thar desert. Then we have a Sikarpur district, Sukar district. Then Ahmedabad, we have Anandar Khaira district and Panchmahals and Surat and Barach district in Gujarat speaking. Then you have Konkani district like Bombay urban area and Salsette Island, Thane and Kolaba, Raigad, that's Ratnagiri, north of Goa. Then you have Desh territories, Pune and Satara and Nasik areas, Ahmednagar and Sholapur. Then you have Khandesh territory, Dhuli and Jalgaon and Dhuli. Then Karnataka district 4. We have here Bijapura and Dharwad Hubli and Belgavi and Karwar, that is North Canara. So the vast territories, and this puts you in proper perspective. When we talk about it, you understand more. Predecessors of Bombay Presidency was the Mughal Empire. Bombay Presidency was formed in 1668. Originally, there was a small presidency, even though you see the presidency means do not imagine Bombay Presidency. The same name, but a small territory where you start. It was called Surat Presidency. British East India Company was headquartered at Surat. At that time, Surat was a very big port. It is on the river Tapati. It is the principal outlet of Mughal emperors for the outside the world on Sindh Sagar for going to pilgrimage to Hajj and Mecca and any other part. Surat, they moved their presidency from Surat, that is called Western Presidency, to Bombay, which they got from the Portuguese because Bombay Island was very natural harbor it has. It is a deep harbor, easy to protect against adversaries, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French, of course the Marathas and Mughal emperors. So they got it. So they moved from Surat. That means Surat area, the Western Presidency was also its predecessor. It was formed during the Mughal time. The Mughals give the land, that is Surat area, like the representative of the King James of England visited Jahangir and gave a petition, and Jahangir gave a special right, Surat Presidency. So a Mughal territory, Mughlai territory, was also a predecessor of Madras Presidency. Then after the death of Aurangzeb in 1707 in Ahmednagar in Balghat region of today's Maharastra, the Mughal Empire collapsed and Marathas gained much. There was a Maratha Empire. Maratha Empire in the final stage after third battle of Panipat was ruled by 5 rulers called Pentarchy: Gaikwad in Baroda, Peshwa in Pune, and Holkar in Indur in Malwa, and Sindhia in Gird or Gwalior, and Bhonsle Raja, Berar Raja in Nagpur. And Peshwa was their head as the power of Peshwa declined after the third battle of Panipat and the death of the next powerful Peshwa Madhava Rao in 1772. The entire Maratha Presidency, Maratha Empire, plunged into severe crisis, and British fought the first Maratha war after the death of Narayan Rao, the Peshwa, the successor of Madhava Rao, and they got the Salsette and they got the Barech and all those regions. So from Maratha Empire they got territory, small territory. After the death of Nana Mahaji Scindia in 1794 and Ahalyabai Holkar few months later, and Tukojira Holkar few months later, and finally Nana Fadnis in March 1808, there was no prominent Maratha leader who can hold the empire together. And the immature leaders, the leaders doesn't have a lot of vision, like Jaswantrao Holkar or Daulatrao Scindia, they start quarreling, and Peshwa Bajirao too got into trouble, and he left and asked went to Bassein across Bombay, signed the ignominious Treaty of Bassein on the last day of 1802 called Treaty of Bassein, that is a subsidiary alliance. He put himself under British protection. British brought him from Bassein, climbed the Borgats, and finally put him back in Pune as a ruler. And after that was in 1804, 1803. And 1818 he again fought war with the British because he wanted to get rid of the British rule. He was finally defeated and given a pension and sent back to Bitur near Kanpur on Ganga in the United Province of Agra and Audh 1818. And overnight he gave a lot of territory, like the entire Konkan region, entire Desh region, entire Khandesh region, and almost all for the southern Karnataka district. And that is the major acquisition. From the Mysore state also they got lot of districts because Mysore princely state gave Kanaras, and North Kanara they got from the Raja of Mysore or its in charge, the controller Tipu Sultan and so on. So that was round about after the third war. After the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in 1839 June, British within few years conquered Sindh, Charles Napier. So when they conquered, that area was attached to the Bombay Presidency. And before that, the British Gaikwad and Sindhia also gave a lot of territories like Panchmahals and Bharuch and Ahmedabad and Anand, so on. So British also, Bombay Presidency acquired this. So that is also predecessors. And Sindh was conquered for Talpur Nawabs after the Battle of Hyderabad and Mayani in Sindh region. And Sindhia gave Panchmahals in round about 1862 or so. That is Panchmahals is Godhra, Dehod, Halol, Kalola, all those regions close to Kushalgarh, Banswara, Dungarpura, Rajputana and Malwa region like Jabua, Ratlam and those areas. So, the predecessors of Madras Presidency was the Mughal Empire. Then western Surat Presidency. Most of its land came from Maratha Empire, the Gaikwads, the Peshwas, and Sindhiyas. And it also, predecessor was also the Talpur Nawabi territory or Sindhi territory. So that is also a predecessor. And Sindhia's territory, Gaikwad territory, these are all the major predecessors of the Bombay Presidency. Bombay Presidency was dismembered in after partition independence. One thing I have to tell you, Bombay Presidency at one time also has Aden in Arabia, Socotra, that is an island east of Aden, that is in South Yemen in Arabia, and in 1939 that was detached, just to keep you a broader perspective. That was called actually the Bombay Presidency and Aden. It was official name, even though that was an exclave, that means that is totally in the Arab world and the far away, but it was also part for some time. In 47 and 50s, lot of territory, princely state was merged, Kutch was merged, Saurashtra was merged and given all the princely states, Baroda and so on, they are merged in Gujarat and finally attached to Bombay Presidency, and later Marathwada region of Nizam's territory was merged, and from the central provinces Berar and Nagpur was merged. I have separated 2-3 videos on that and you can look at them. And Karnataka speaking territories was detached, and finally in 1960 the bilingual Bombay Presidency that has a Vidarbha region, that is Nagpur, Wardha, Bhandara and Gadchiroli, and Berar region, Akola, Amravati and Yavatmal and Washim, and Marathwada region, Aurangabad, Jalna, Parbani, Nanded and Usmanabad and Beed, and Saurashtra region, Jamnagar, Bhavnagar, Rajkot, Amreli and Surendranagar and Porbandar, those regions, and Kutch and all those regions. Bilingual Bombay was 1860 finally dismembered, and Gujarat state and Maharashtra state were formed. And important, there is a district called Banaskantha in northern Gujarat here, because river Banas coming from the western side of Aravali flows here is called Banaskantha. Radhanpur, Palanpur and all those areas in that area. Sabarkantha means the river Sabarmati flows in that area. So the name is very intuitive. From Banaskantha, Abu Road Tehsil was given to Shirohi district, and it was attached to the Shirohi district. That means that is the area. That means what are the successor states? Successor states of today are Karnataka. Karnataka is a successor state of Bombay Presidency because you have 4 districts that's called Bombay Karnataka. Actually Karnataka means that's the Karnataka. Karnataka University is present in Dharwad. So other part of Karnataka is princely state of Mysore. That was for a lot of years, for centuries, ruled by Wadayars dynasty. So Karnataka is a successor state because Bijapur, and Dharwad and Karwar, Belgavi were part of Bombay Presidency. So it is a successor state. Why Maharashtra is a successor state? Of course, Maharashtra is a major beneficiary, it's a residuary state, where the city of Bombay, the island of Bombay, the island of Salsette are present, and of course all the Konkan region, that is Thane and Kolaba Ratnagiri are there, and Desh territory, Pune, Satara, Sangli, and Kolhapur, and Ahmednagar and Nasik, and this is the Desh territory, Sholapur are there, and Khandesh territory, Jalgaon and Dhulia. And it also got the Marathwada and Vidarbha, because they were also part of Bombay Presidency after partition independence. So Maharashtra is the residuary state and successor state. It is, we can say, inherited entire infrastructure, even though it didn't use the name Bombay, whereas a Madras presidency was dissolved, dismembered. For some time, that region, Tamil-speaking districts were called Madras state. That means you have Madras presidency and a Madras province, a Madras state, and a truncated Madras state, still truncated Madras state. Later, when the local government came, like DMK government, they changed the name to Tamil Nadu. But the name Madras state was there. Here the name was not used after partition independence, final dismemberment. Maharashtra and Gujarat were used. Gujarat is the major successor state. Why is such a successor state? Means all the districts like Ahmedabad district, Boroch district, Anand Khaira district, and Surat district, and Panchmahal, all were part of Madras Presidency, Bombay Presidency. Remember, it's British governed. Also means Bombay Presidency is a bigger area. It has residencies, jagirdars, talukdars, agencies, so many other political entities. So Gujarat is also successor. Sindh is a successor because in 1935 Sindhi speaking areas were separated from Bombay Presidency, that is the Karachi district, Hyderabad district, Tarparkar district, and Shikarpur and Sukur district were designated as a Sindh province, and so it is also successor state. Why Rajasthan is a successor state? Because it got a small amount of territory called Abu Road Taluk from the Banaskantha district of Gujarat, which was a part of Bombay Presidency, given to Shirohi district. Now it is a Shirohi district. So the successor states of Bombay Presidency are Rajputana, Rajasthan, Sindh in Pakistan, Gujarat in the west coast, Maharastra, and Karnataka. What are the predecessor states? Of course, this area was originally Mughal Empire. So the Mughal Empire is predecessor. And originally, East India Company Bahadur started at Surat town as a small trading post, small land given by the Mughals on the bank of river Tapti. So Western Presidency Surat was there. And that later, this entire much of the area was acquired by the Marathas. So Maratha Empire was its predecessor. In fact, Bombay Presidency grew, subsuming, overriding, conquering its principal opponent, Maratha Empire. So Maratha Empire, that means the Peshwa's territory, Gaikwad's territory. And remember, Gwalior ruled by Scindias, even though it's not just here. Scindia has territories distributed in many places. Panchmahals was his territory, and Broch was his territory, like that he gave. Gaikwad was under the control of British, also gave the territory Peshwa. So Maratha Empire was also its predecessor. Why Mysorean state, Wadayar state, are later usurped by Hyder and Tipu is also predecessor, because these are the territories belong to Wadayars and Hyder Ali and Tipu. In the third Mysore war, all this territory were given to Maratha. So that means indirectly Mysorean state was the predecessor of Bombay Presidency. And Sindh, that's the Talpuri Nawab territory, was also a predecessor of Bombay Presidency. So that is in brief about the predecessors and successors. When somebody talks or you discuss about the Maharashtra state, now we have an overview of almost 300 years, how these changes occurred, what are the predecessors, what are the successors, and finally, before we go, I will show you the Squageberg Atlas. You can get this atlas by typing Squageberg. You can stop here, and I also posted the link in the information box in the downstream. You can, here I am showing essentially the Bombay Presidency in the so you have Sindh division, Gujarat division, Konkan division, Desh territory, and Carnatic division, of the Bombay Presidency. I am expanding a little bit so that you can see these areas beautifully. Karachi district, Hyderabad district, Parkat district, surrounding the Khairpur princely state, Shikarpur district. This is the Balochistan plateau. Baluchis, Brahwi people lived here. The northern part touched Balochistan and West Punjab, Ghazi Khan district and princely state of Bahawalpur here. Jaisalmer princely state, Jodhpur, Marwar princely state. Then we see the Gujarati speaking Ahmedabad, Broch, Surat and Panchmahals and so on. Then we have the Konkan areas. It's a Bombay. So you see, this island is the Salsette Island. You can see here the Salsette Island. There is a Ullas River here, the Thane Creek and Ullas Creek, Bombay Island here, Salsette Island here, and so we have the Pune and Satara and Sholapur and Nasik area, Khandesh territory. Then Carnatic regions, Belgavi and Dharwar and Kanara, and here we have Bijapura district. That is about the predecessors and successors of fascinating Bombay Presidency of British India, which survived nearly for 300 years from 1668 to almost 1960, and we saw its predecessors and Mughals and Marathas and Talpur Nawabs of Sindh and Sindhyas and Gaikwad successors like Karnataka state, Maharastra state, Gujarat state, Rajputana state and Sindh, and also at one time it is a territory of Aden in the Arabian Peninsula and Socotra Island in the Sindh Sagar, that is the Arabian Ocean. This is today's presentation about the Bombay Presidency. Please encourage this educational channel, South Asia in Maps, where I bring vast amount of information in the form of icons. Subscribe our channel at YouTube and send me your feedback. This is your presenter today, Reddy, who brought you the fascinating story of Bombay Presidency of British India and its predecessors, its successors to you in the form of icons and maps in South Asia Maps. See you later and Dhanyavad.